Welcome back to the weekly Monday Motivation Podcast, No More Excuses. I'm your host, Sandy Ballard, the Badass Business Coach. Once again, sitting outside at this beautiful pool and cabana that we have here. So why not, right? Yeah. So again, welcome back. Thanks for investing in you and your time, in your growth, in your success. And thanks for sharing the podcast with others, because if it wasn't for you and sharing is caring, right? If it wasn't for you sharing the podcast and talking about it with others, then I wouldn't have listeners all over the world. And so I really appreciate that. And if some of you from Germany or Mexico or Russia are the ones who bought my book, please give me a shout out, reach out to me, connect with me, email me, sandy@sandyballard.com, and let me know, or give me a review if you've read it already. So please leave me a review, email it to me, or check it out. Do it on Amazon. So thank you. I'm always anxious to hear who's listening, who's reading my books, and all that good stuff. So, and how I'm helping you. So, yeah, yes, it's the fourth quarter. We're into week 2 of the fourth quarter. And last week I talked about doing a goal review. So, really digging deep into what's worked, what's not worked, what you need to do to adjust and modify to finish the year strong, right? And so, how'd you do? How are you doing? I told on myself last week, told on myself what I haven't done and what I have done. Obviously, the big one was getting the book published. And the one I haven't gotten is back to, the health and wellness, my body being as strong and healthy as I wanted it to be. Minor injuries and just loving life, right? So, it's just about sticking to it. And yes, I've got my half marathon shirt on. I'm only half crazy, right? To inspire me also a little more. So, looking at what am I going to be doing? What do I want to do? And, yeah, I mean, if it's not really fun, are we really going to work that hard at it? But you know what? Sometimes we have to. Not everything is fun, because if running was amazingly fun, you'd be doing it too. It's what I get after that, the runner's high sort of thing. But looking at, what my body can handle and being nice to myself. So, well, looking at that. So looking at what we're going to do for the next, 2.5 months, 2 and 3/4 months, to help finish the year strong. What are you going to do? How are you going to pivot? How are you going to change and modify things? And, like I've done this now for about a month, is these video casts as well as podcasts. So, looking at doing things a little differently, will help you. So whether it's your sales are down, or you're having staff turnover, or you're getting, communication issues, wondering why people are acting or reacting a different way than you would, looking at, can you do something a little bit different? I have a client who, it was actually a couple of years ago, we talked a lot about why they were having staff turnover, and her manager was like, I just, would just hire, and then they're connected to my hip, and that's, my training process. I show them how to do everything. Well, fast forward to, we have another person to hire, and then what are you going to do about that? So I asked her straight up, do you have time to keep retraining? Or do you have time to write a process, a training program, and create a manual? And she's like, I'll have that done today. So yes, that helped for a while. And, then COVID hit, the pandemic, and that manager actually left. So the owner was left with finding a new manager and creating new training processes. And some of the things I've talked about with a couple of her other team leads is really about their style. What was frustrating to one person about why somebody didn't get it, why somebody couldn't just look in the manual, was his personality style, right? I said, train the people how they want to be trained, not how you want to train them. Yes, you give everybody different options. Okay, some people are the type that are going to sit and watch a video, like this video cast. Other people are going to be the type that want to listen to it, just listen. They don't need to see it. They're more auditory, which auditory is still visual, but you don't have to see the person to connect and to hear the message. So looking at that, so if for some reason you're having trouble with staff turnover or even volunteers or interns, things like that, and getting them to understand or connect and really like get it, look at how are you training, how are you giving them the information, what's their personality style. And if you keep saying it's in the manual, it's in the manual, it's in the manual, they're not going to get it. If they aren't getting it by now, sit down and show them. Sometimes you need to show them, and they're not necessarily the type that watch the video to get it. They need to have that hands-on type training. Okay, so think about that. And if sales are down, looking at what's going on with that. What have you tried? Are you networking? Where are you networking? Maybe you need to network somewhere differently. Maybe your message needs to be changed up. Some people will hear things differently, and some people will hear it at the right time, right? What is it, like marketing messages? Seven has to hear it 7 times, I believe. I don't know if that's changed or not, but looking at doing things a little differently. I was just talking with someone who's a send out cards rep. I personally love send out cards, but even with talking with her, I realized I wasn't using it the way I should. We send texts, we send emails. I have a friend, I have to text her to tell her to check her email because I can't get all the information in a text. Who wants a book? Although we tend to write books in our text messages these days. How are you connecting with your prospects? How are you staying connected with your clients? I'm not saying you have to use send out cards. It's just a different concept. It's a different way to touch base with people than just sending a text or sending an email, especially an email, just to say hi, because it does seem very impersonal. It seems sometimes it can. And especially if you're doing a group, like I send group email newsletters, and one of my clients is like, "You keep inviting me to this women's group, the Taboo Tribe." And I'm like, "No, dude, I'm emailing you about the podcast, about the coaching tip. And by the way, yes, I'm adding in for all the women on the newsletter and the women in your life about the women's group." He's like, "Oh, okay." So yeah, if you're watching Dave, hmm stop giving me shit about that, right? So, but that doesn't, it's not always resonating. So obviously he wasn't looking at it for the other things. He was seeing what he wasn't allowed to come to. So, we've got to try different things. So, sometimes that I'm going to start doing more send out cards next week, and it'll be mid October, and it's going to be something fun. Maybe it's for Halloween, maybe it's just for fall, not necessarily at the holidays, because as this my send out card rep said, yeah, if you send cards just at the birthday, guess what? Everyone's sending cards at birthday. So, do it another time and just say hi. It doesn't have to be for something important. And it doesn't have to be send out cards, like I said. It could be another card. It could be a print marketing post or material, postcard or something like that. But making sure you're not always selling. And that's a good lesson. I'm saying it out loud so I hear myself, right? No, you're not always needing to connect with people just at the time to sell. And, I know about that when I'm working on my quarterly women's events. It feels like sometimes all I'm doing is touching base with them when it's time to get them to register. So if you're part of that group, the Taboo Tribe, the Taboo, and you come to Taboo Talk, I apologize, but it is hard to keep in touch with hundreds of people at once and not seem impersonal sometimes. So yeah, looking at different ways, how if your sales are flat, what can you do a little differently? So again, all of us can finish the year strong. Okay, that's what this is all about: finishing the year strong. So I want to hear from you. What are you currently doing, and what's something you're going to do a little differently? I know I've talked about that a lot, doing things differently, but now is the time. If you're going to do it at all, do it now. So, because we're going to get into the holidays, we're already into some of the holidays, and they're going to be distracting. And then you're going to have fall break for kids, Thanksgiving break for kids, Christmas break for kids, all the shit for kids. If you don't have kids, it's still holidays and you're still dealing with that. I got caught in school traffic because I don't have a kid. Mine's 27. I just wasn't thinking about the time of day and the route I took. And I was like, school traffic. Who knew? So doing things differently. Yeah. I was doing something differently. I was taking the shortcut and I got caught in school traffic. But again, looking at that, so if things just aren't where you wanted them to be, if you're not achieving your goals like you wanted to be, like you wanted to, then what will you do differently? What are you willing to do for you? Because you are your most valuable asset. You are your biggest investment. All right. There you go. So I look forward to hearing from you. Direct message me, comment, Sandy at sandyballard.com. And watch out because I am going to be launching. I did this right before the vid hit. 6 weeks, 6 calls, $260, and it's going to be to focus on one thing. And this is going to be great to help you finish the year strong. So if you're interested in that, let me know. Email me because I'm only actually taking 6 people in their individual sessions. Okay, not a group. So I have done groups, but this is going to be 6 individual people, 6 weeks, 6 calls, $260 to help you finish the year strong. Email me, connect with me if you're interested in that, and I'll send you the link to sign up. And because we are going to start actually, I forgot the actual, I want to make sure I have the right date. On the 17th is my official launch, or that week of the 17th. However, you could start whenever you want because we all have 6 weeks, right? So, but looking forward to that because the main goal is really just to help you finish the year strong. All right, I look forward to hearing from you. Cheers.